Welcome back, friends, to Occultists Anonymous, sponsored by Roll20, The Onyx Path, viewers like you, and Bugs. We'll get to Bugs here in a minute. Thank you very much to all our friends who support us by subscribing, following, all that kind of stuff, and a special shout out to our patrons who support us monetarily directly. If you're watching on YouTube, you are also supporting us monetarily. Think about that. If you're not using AdBlock. Anyways. Thank you to Adele, Al, Alan Michael, Alexander, Angfalith, Bernie, Blood Angel, Brandon, Chris, Daniel, Doc the Undead, Delore, Emil, Funzusu Ali, George, Guyleen, Jack, Jenny, John, Josh, Julian, Catfeathers, Crazyman1772, Melissa, Michael, Milo V3, Ms. Grumpy, Moku, Neomegus, Noba, Other Michael, Parker, Perry, Puppeteer, Riafio, Ryan, Shaxara, Cinna, Taryn, The Arcane, Thomas Toast, Usuf Sama, Vortex, Where's Camo Drew, Where's Noctal Drew, Woodsound, and Zoltan. I have to separate those two. Like, they're gonna have to sit in different corners during lunch. Yes.
Can't do that.
If you are on Twitch now and missed what we were talking about earlier, or over on YouTube and you're wondering, hey, what's up with Ralph? Ralph is traveling for bug stuff. And if you want to know more about bug stuff, come by Discord.
Bug stuff. Just thought I needed some of the extra enunciation in there.
There we go.
But yeah, if you're curious about a pooter,
oh yeah, you want to know about that pooter?
Come by Discord, yeet into .space, and you know, basically you'll have to do a lot of convincing, it sounds like, but to get Ralph to talk about it in the learning channel, which we do have. If any of you are like, hey, I'm learned in this thing and I kind of want to stand on a soapbox and talk about a cool thing that I know about, ping me on Discord and we'll see about, like, hey, is that something that's actually interesting information and relevant to, like, our community, you know, and we'll open that Discord channel up and let you kind of chat with folks. It's
ping me anytime, any time of day, any time of night. Just be like, what up, poot poot, and I'll be like, it's on.
So maybe
like you're looking for approval, Chris.
Oh Lord,
never been prouder of the thing I've said.
Oh God. All right, alrighty. We're gonna get this back on the railroad.
Oh, that's right. We're playing a game.
When we last left, Theo and Legba were in the graveyard trying to work with Elliott, whose last name immediately escapes me, but is
Booth.
Booth, thank you. I knew I was missing. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong channel. That's why. There it is. And we're attempting to commune with him, talk with him, and try and save him. That got a little bit violent. Headstones were thrown, harsh words and commands given, and yeah. In the meantime, Isabel and Gisela are up on the ridgeline with Jules Lamb, Rilla Remington, and Mortimer Bethune, after having done a little bit of a tour of the telescope. And basically Jules was looking over at Rilla was looking over at Jules, and what do you guys, why do you have a friend here? And so they kind of stepped away for a minute, and Jules was speaking the three of them were, you know, talking amongst themselves, and Gisela and Isabel had a moment to chat, and that's where we pick up as the Royal Society is kind of looking over at you and kind of having their heads together, talking about why guests were brought. But yeah, no, it's cool. If you guys don't have any, because this was your chance to have some communication, or, you know, make a plan, and yeah, no.
I don't know what we're about to see. Like, we're here to see something. We haven't seen anything yet, so I don't need to react yet.
But you saw Saturn.
I know what it is.
But yes,
I did not see anything magical yet.
That's very true.
I did pull Rilla aside and ask her about the thing. That was when she was like, it doesn't always show up.
Mm-hmm. But we might see it tonight, correct? To which we cut to Mortimer kind of finishing talking with Rilla and Jules. Jules gets this, you know, kind of affirmative, encouraging pat on the shoulder and a nod, and he looks a little skeptical with what Rilla was saying, but both Jules and Rilla are looking fairly positive. After a little conversation, and Mortimer kind of beckons the two of you over and says, ladies, Jules and Rilla is explaining that you apparently have... I'm trying to find a right way to say this that won't be offensive, but well, I'm just going to come out and say it, and I hope you understand I don't mean this in an offensive way, but are you two witches?
Just gonna look at Isabel and try very hard. I'm not keeping a straight face at this, but
I think that there have been people called that throughout history that we might have some similarities with.
Interesting, because as Jules was...
It's not a term I ascribe to myself, though.
As I said, if there's another name that you want to go by, please let me know, and I will use that name instead. But
we ain't really got that
in the interim, I will...
Seems accurate.
Thank you.
For you, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. In the interim, though, I'm trying to think of how he... Well, yeah. Jules has told me that, Isabel, you study the world with other senses, and you have an ability to speak some... actually, I think he says read, write, and speak this arcane language. Is that true? Is that accurate?
Yep.
And he looks not flabbergasted, but a little surprised that you're kind of openly admitting to, witchery, right? But then kind of looks over at Gisela, and a little less he's a little less surprised about it, but says, and you recognize occult, well, actually, what do we see? Alchemical ingredients when you see them?
I've studied a lot.
Are you, kind of, and like this, a bit overly dramatic, but obvious, look around, making sure, are you a practiced alchemist?
No.
Oh. Okay. And that has him confused. Is why the heck are you studying it if you're not actually practicing it? Kind of looks to Jules and Rilla, and a little more under his breath, but definitely is, now that you guys are a little bit closer, says, perhaps we didn't, I think perhaps we didn't investigate thoroughly enough before coming here. Jules is Miss Bauer has been here for a few years, but dang it, without their names right in front of me, I completely...
Isabel.
Well, Isabel, yes, but I was trying to remember her last name. Pilar,
Miss
yes.
Pilar.
Is a fairly new arrival. Mortimer says, and then Theo would make 3. I mean...
3 is a powerful number.
And Mortimer looks up. Yes. Yes, it is.
4's better, though.
I'm just thinking with the 3, it's who gets to be the crone?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, only one of you has given birth. But Mortimer nods and says yes, and kind of definitely is clearly, this is probably the first time you guys have seen him a little less composed and a little bit more rambling. He's not even necessarily fishing so much as verbalizing.
Official.
Oh yeah, but is more verbalizing hypotheses as he goes, and says, so yeah, 3 of them would make a proper coven then. And Jules is nodding. Rilla looks a little bit more askance. But I mean, the three of you have been seen, together in various ways.
Yeah.
And so they kind of, not interesting. Rilla, would you the book? Yes, sir. And Rilla goes over to the packs of books and it's not the big tome that she pulls out. It's a much smaller little notebook, and pulls it out, hands it to Mortimer, and Jules has this lamp that he brings over, and Mortimer flips through the pages and finds a passage, and kind of works the book open and puts it in front of Isabel and says, "Can you read this?" And I can tell you that you can, but it is high speech.
Cool.
Now, because you are not fluent in high speech, I would like you to roll intellect plus occult. Gisela, you're definitely there close enough that you can see this as well, and if you just lean over, but only...
Do I get a bonus if I turn on my magic eyes or anything?
Not for just reading high speech. But Mortimer is only presenting this to Isabel, because it is very clear that she's the one who knows high speech. But so you can kind of peek in.
I'm the leader on the shoulder.
Right? Yeah. Like, what are we looking at? Yeah.
I thought I rolled.
Oh. 5 successes.
Damn.
I don't need fancy dice pools. I just need to roll well.
Just need the one. Okay, with the exceptional success, Ash, on this, I'm going to basically tell you exactly what it says instead of giving you a condition. Isabel, you're getting the vague majority of this, right? I
like to think, like, when I picture it with, like, reading, it's like you get all the, like, individual words, but somehow, like, forming a full sentence or, like, interpreting, like, high speech idioms.
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
Right.
Or, like, when you read another language
you can
and you're reading
the
words in order, but it doesn't, they don't go in that order.
Or, teach a man to slap a fish. What the fuck does that mean?
And so, Chris, I'll just let you kind of misinterpret as you will.
Sure.
Ash, Gisela is able to very clearly read a description of the page that you're looking at is landmark directions. You don't have a starting point, but it's a go this way towards this shaped mountain ridge, towards this valley, along this river for X number of days until this, and it's basically a step-by-step kind of plot guide, very like Indiana Jones kind of travel by map-esque kind of thing, going from landmark to landmark, with no actual no names. And then I totally copied that from Indiana Jones. Oh, it's a map with no names. Yes. And basically a guide, and it's a long series of details. Some places we're talking about walk 500 paces and look left to see
500 miles.
But yeah, and so it's just these multiple little steps and bits, and it definitely looks like there's definitely loops and redirections, and like there's literally one segment near the end where it's like, okay, walk 100 feet west and then walk 200 feet east. It's like, why not just go east? Who knows why?
The journey is important.
Right. Now, actually, I think with your occult roll, I think we can definitely say, oh yeah, you kind of recognize like there's more to this than just walking, but the travel itself is important. But yeah, and it's just, it starts somewhere and just, and the book we're talking about is like yay big. It's a very small little book when pulled open like that. So yes.
So I think, yeah, Isabel like points at certain words. She's like, all right, mountain, paces, directions.
I don't know where it's sending you, but it's instructions.
Yeah, you watch as like Mortimer and Jules kind of head snap over to you as you read it, and Rilla has this little grin on her face. And like Mortimer,
can you read this? Did this bring you here?
Yeah, Mortimer closes it with, there's no hardback to it, but it's a little bit of a finality, and hands it back to Rilla, and Rilla puts it back in the bag, and she's got a big Cheshire grin. She's like, oh yeah, but no. We cannot read that.
What brought you here? If not the instructions.
Oh, those are not related to this, and kind of points at the telescope.
So, a darkness in the heavens, unbound by the laws of physics, and a secret language that you can't read. Y'all are doing one hell of a science, huh?
What do you know, this darkness?
Am I wrong?
Trying to gauge if this is something appropriate to roll dice for.
I can totally roll dice for it.
Yeah, but this is 100% one of those, like, do you roll dice? What happens if you feel... Oh, yeah, actually, okay, yeah. Presence plus persuasion, I think, just to keep things, like, on the level. Because this is you kind of, pulling the trap card and being like, aha, I know more about this than you thought
manipulation?
I did.
Doesn't that sound like manipulation then?
I'm thinking more of presence of like keeping it on an even keel, but I'm cool with manipulation too.
Go more wrong if it fails on manipulation, right?
Are you trying to keep things calm, or are you trying to throw them off balance?
It's true. I
guess it's not intended to fuck him up.
Good call, Craig.
Yep. There you go. Got one.
Yeah. So he kind of nods and says, clearly, things that are secretive are not entirely secret around here. How do you know what we are looking for? Are you aware of it? Have you seen it? There were head shakes, by the way, podcast folks.
It's in your book.
I didn't want to be the one to say.
Right.
But yes, we had ways of seeing your book.
We haven't stolen your research. Do not be worried.
We barely know what it's talking about, but we parsed out thing in the sky.
Yeah, like there's the shuffling of bags and books and stuff like that, and there's Rilla going, oh. And Mortimer kind of looks back and says, well, no, they clearly probably could have figured this out. We are probably a curiosity to them, much as they're a curiosity to us.
So
I've been trying to figure out what you're doing since you showed up.
We've been very straightforward about that. We are viewing the stars. And like his grin is there, and like, yeah. he's definitely been keeping things from you guys. Well, let us see. And beckons you both over as he takes a kneel before the telescope and looks.
I did have one question.
Mm-hmm.
There's not like, if I cast a look, that's not. I wanted to make it like him actually see the thing and see it well. That would be the target on the.
No,
void,
you can
right?
make him to luck into seeing it, but you don't have miracle to just make something happen. He is more likely to if it is possible. So if it is not up there, then like you're more likely to do it. But if you're increasing your chance from 0, you're still at 0 or multiplying. Yeah. But yeah, if you wanted to, you can definitely try and make him luckier.
So, a group of scientists studying something that defies existence walk into a town full of witches that defy how we know the world works.
Jules.
Skeleton Bleed is weird now. We name it?
It's just a quick little at the top of the spell. That way, if anybody's working on something, like beforehand, yep. It'll just be like, oh yeah, this is what Gisela is casting.
Some would say that either someone put this together, or that the stars have aligned.
Mortimer, who is like bending over the telescope, kind of scoffs and says, "I doubt that either the hand of God manipulated our journey here, or the stars had any influence on this. Save chance." Cool. Let me roll a paradox.
Yeah, for reaches I have instant range because I'm not trying to like touch him,
Mm-hmm.
and duration.
Okay. And what yantra are you using there?
A coin.
Okay. Cool. So 5, 6. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, so that goes off.
I mean, I wasn't trying to like give a boon or anything. I want to make him lucky.
Sure. Yeah, so as he's kind of looking through and searching in basically the region of the sky that it should be in, some under the breath grumbling. There's a little bit of little bit of Ishmael hunting his white whale. Where are you little bastard? And stuff like that. And then, damn, I don't see it. And kind of stands up and kind of motions toward Jules. As Mortimer stands up, there's definitely like the, yep, I'm old, achy bone, kind of stretch and move and stuff like that, and kind of looks back over and says, I will admit that this particular astronomical phenomenon is bizarre and has made me the laughingstock of the Royal Society. But when I discover what this is, prove it and show it to others, they'll have to understand. Galileo was.
What if the report's got to be written in our language?
Sorry, one more time.
I said, what if the report has to be written in our language for it to be fully comprehended?
That's a possibility, but at the same time, I merely think this is something new. Jules is over there kind of fiddling and looking, and he's at it a little bit more vigorously, or actually less vigorously and more fine-toothed comb moving very slowly, pausing for a minute, and says, "No, nothing here."
Do you really think this is entirely scientific?
It's a thing moving in space. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
That there have been many a phenomenon that humanity has quaked in fear of: thunder, lightning, and we've all
You should still do that.
I'll just stay
And
inside
then,
my
like,
home.
pull down and this
That's true. Yeah, your scar kind of pauses and
Well, still a wound, actually.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Pauses, looking at that, and says, or one could simply just not stand outside in a thunderstorm. But I agree. There's. I'm not about to put my head in the lion's mouth, but these things can be understood.
Very well. Jules was vague on trying to answer this before, perhaps because he did not trust us, or, I was just a simple serving girl. But, why can you only see it here?
It's not a matter of seeing it here. It's traveling and anticipating where it's going.
Does it have a known orbit?
Not that I have calculated yet.
Doesn't. I don't understand.
Neither do I, which is one of the problems. And walks over to the actual big book and flips to a very practiced section of it. Flips it open, and it's just a bunch of all the same symbols and stuff like that. But it looks like there's a pattern, and he says these are all the various sightings and followings that we've had of it. It's moving, but not in a regular pattern. I followed it across Europe for months at a stretch, then did not find it again until Africa, because it sped up. Found it again in Ireland. Rick shuts the book, sets it down, and says, "There is no rhyme or reason to it."
Sure there is.
Well, yes, I'm sure somewhere there
You
is.
just described something that makes perfect sense.
How so?
You're haunting it. It's running away.
That literally takes him back a step and goes, "You think it would be aware of our observations?"
I'm saying I've learned more in the last 6 months than I think anyone in the world can in a lifetime. About how the world works.
Kind of looking between the two of you, hands on hips, kind of looks up at the stars, kind of squinting, as if he's suddenly going to be able to see it now, and says, "Huh. Something that far up in space, but aware of our observations."
If you can see it, why shouldn't it be able to see you?
Well, by current scientific theory, because we would be far too small for it to observe.
Maybe it has a telescope.
Trained on Earth, on our planet, where I am looking, but the theory is there, and I have no immediate way to disprove it beyond the fact that it seems preposterous. But so does an astronomical phenomenon that
You hear
moves.
that, Jules? I did a science.
An astronomical phenomenon that moves both behind and in front of stars. And Jules kind of gives you a grin, a little thumb, well, actually probably not a thumbs up, it's a little anachronistic, but says, a little "I'm proud of you" kind of look. But, well, as
If
it
you
is
can-
not showing its face tonight, kind of looks over at Gisela and says, perhaps your alchemical knowledge will perhaps give us some help here. And draws out like almost said baggies, but probably like a cloth sack, and sets out on the ground next to the lantern a bunch of the alchemical ingredients that had been ordered previously, and points at them and says, as I'm led to believe, the proper mixture and application of heat to these, along with spring water, will create a potion, and kind of says that dramatically and then immediately rolls his eyes, of, well, something that will enhance our vision. Let us see what we cannot see. Do you think we've been led astray? And like his question has a very he's asking, but it definitely has the weight of a test.
I don't practice alchemy. I tell fortunes.
So you merely recognize the ingredients from
Reading.
reading what? Go ahead, break it to
About
us.
witches.
Fairy tales.
Yeah.
Interesting. Like wraps up.
I might be able to help.
Oh yeah. Starts wrapping up the ingredients and tucks them back into a bag, sets them with the rest of the supplies, and says, "Help by reading our fortune."
Mhm.
But with tarot cards.
Just normal cards.
And at this point, he's definitely like, this is a wasted night kind of thing.
You've lost him a little bit.
Well, it's not even that. It's he's not going to be able to spot it tonight, or at least hasn't yet. And it's just like, fine, sure, let's tell me my fortune.
If I do divination with the reach for a specific question, can that get me when it will be visible next?
Yeah, you could ask it about you could ask the question of yourself, when could you see it next? Yes. And momentarily we will jump over to the graveyard.
Spooky.
Does it just need 2 reach? Because I'm asking about my for me,
Mhm.
instant +1.
Mhm. Cool. That'll be
It's the one
2
over each.
paradox, because
Yes.
you've done it previously. Actually, do you have any? Oh, and you have exceptional luck. Do you leave that running? Oh wait, no, you have 2 gnosis. Doesn't matter. Sorry, dumb question. Oh, 1 paradox.
Let's strategic nosebleed to give extra effect.
Right.
Anime style.
Yeah. Or Stranger Things. Roll your 3 plus 4, 7. Four successes. Just
Not exceptional.
Just shy. And so, yes, now, right, because it's a time spell, so you only have the one question. And it's just, when can you observe the Astrovoidal next, basically?
Yeah. When will I next be able to see it?
Cool. Let's come over here to Conca. Pull up the calendar. We are sitting at May 16th. It will be, so... never mind, I was going to try and get into a big, deep imago or something, but no. Basically, it says beneath and we're just going to use what the stupid moons are for Conca, and so the the waxing moon, beneath the waxing moon, and I'm going to add a little event here.
Okay. And so I'm going to sit down and pull out the cards and shuffle it up and pull out a king. And then say that.
Yeah.
Mortimer kind of looks at you, who just pulled the king out of thing, and says, the king of spades tells you this.
No.
So drawing a card tells you this.
Yes.
But not the specific card.
They do mean things to me, but probably not to anyone else.
Cool. Big nod of his head. Are you actually really trying to convince him of this, or you're like, trust me or not?
I mean, I want him to believe me, but I don't honestly expect him to.
Sure. But yeah, if
that's your answer. If you believe me, be here then.
Sure.
If not, keep spending every night staring at nothing.
Sure. So yeah, go ahead and roll. Presence plus expression or persuasion.
And I have no more willpowers. And I don't think I have any conditions that might help.
Yeah, I'll need to get you some moves.
2 successes on 3 dice. Okay.
Sure. So he kind of nods and says, well, I mean, we'll be observing the sky every night for a while, but sure, we'll make an exception. Come join us Sunday night, and we will see.
I absolutely will.
Jules kind of nudges Mortimer and then kind of go ahead and said, both of you are welcome to join us any night that we're observing. Mortimer kind of gives him who do you think you... Yeah, okay, fine. Like, just not worth argument. He's already, frustrated because tonight was and it was a letdown. Kind of looks, but Mortimer looks over at, Isabel and says, besides flying, are you capable of other magic?
No, I don't fly.
Looks over at Jules. I saw her, sir.
I don't fly.
Then what did I observe?
I was carried.
Carried by the winds, flying?
I think that they could buy flying better.
Probably. But whether
I
or
don't
not...
fly. I was flown.
It's falling with not that much style.
Falling with absolutely zero grace or style.
You think if I could fly, I would have hit the ground? Come on.
That's true. Yeah, but that's fine. We kind of leave it with that as we cut back over to Elliott Booth digging into the grave dirt, his own grave, muttering about show them and prove it to them. And we had left off with Legba about to cast a spell, but we realized, oh, hey, and just minor miscommunication. And yeah, so go ahead, and I think you were going to just roll to intimidate again.
So Elliott goes back. He's focusing on his grave again, and before Cloak allows Legba himself, to use magical power, he relies once again on his force of will. And so Cloak says to Elliott, "Elliott, look at me."
It's good.
Alrighty, let's do this. We gotta do it again, because he's trying to protect Theo. Wow.
Cool.
That's
And
another
we'll apply
exceptional.
that same cowed condition.
Okay, sounds good.
And like he turns, and it is a very, like, besides the fact that he's kind of laying on his belly, it's that very Smeagol, kind of expression of, oh, don't hit me, do whatever you want kind of thing again. And he's kind of looking at the two of you, like trying to figure out what you want. Actually, I think, even kind of, snarls that out. What do you want? Just leave me be.
Believe it or not, we want to help you. But in order to do so, you can't strike Madame Stokes again with any remnant, any reminder of what happened to you. So you're going to answer some simple questions. All right?
You get a, kind of shuddering, shriveling little, acquiescence.
Okay. And Cloak turns to Theo, looking for permission to continue or inviting her to ask the first questions. And if she nods,
she's kind of at a loss on how to proceed. So go ahead.
Cool. Cloak says, what do you remember of the people you were mad at?
It's a very straightforward, kind of expression, and just, they murdered me. Smashed my bones.
Do you remember it?
I'm trying to think how he would put this. I remember their stare. Remember their axe. Well, pickaxe, but their axe striking me.
Do you remember why they did that?
Yeah, because they hate me. They wish they were me.
They wish they were you.
He kind of looks, kind of motions at himself before it was broken.
Before you were broken. You suggest jealousy is their motive. You suggest hate.
Yeah, it's kind of just some nods and, a little snarl of his mouth.
Elliott, hate is not something that happens instantly. We come to loathe things over time as a result of the things they do to us or the things we see them do to others. And jealousy and hate are not the same feeling. I think you need to dig deeper and try to remember what would inspire people to hate you, as you suggest. Why were they not your friends? Why were they not pleasant co-workers? It is much easier to explain why people would enact violence on one other person based on something about that individual, something they do.
Gives you a grave dirt-filled smile and kind of runs his hand over his, his jaw, and said, "They wanted my good looks, my way with the women, my strength.
And look where that got you. Elliott, people can't take those things from you. They can acquire them from another person. And I would be surprised to learn that this happened to you because a group of people felt that they would never be as strong as you, as romantically capable, or as attractive to other people. You are hiding within a weak explanation for what you brought upon yourself. And the only way you can rise above the sniveling worm that you are right now, pounding your fist ineffectually against your gravestone, is to acknowledge what you did before and how you can be something different now.
I definitely think that's going to be a presence plus either persuasion or expression. We're
Awesome.
shifting off of intimidation into the resolve your fucking anchor, bro.
Exactly. Cool.
And if there's anything, Theo, that you're going to try and slide in here, nudge, or assist in any way.
I'm trying to think. I don't know how to just
cool.
nod encouragingly. But
Yeah.
I just love the idea of talking a ghost to death.
Well, not necessarily
Yeah,
to death, but yeah.
To the other side.
Alrighty. Yeah. Cool. Let's see. And we're gonna go one more. Right. Roll it up. This is a normal roll. Cool.
2 successes. All right.
Succeed.
And Craig, Theo still has Death Sight on? Or, okay. So you don't necessarily see the anchor itself. You've already kind of guessed that it's probably the body down beneath. But you feel something happen. I think for Legba, this comes across as just your peripheral mage sight, just that tingle there, as something happens. And like Elliott, kind of from that hunched, kind of relaxes a little bit and doesn't seem to get like there's no sudden restoration and he floats up or anything like that. But like kind of lifts himself and is like no longer concerned about the dirt and kind of it relaxes a little bit. There's a solid, silent graveyard beat of just like as things relax. Then you hear a creaking sound. And I guess it would just be Craig. You hear Jed kind of back a ways go, "What?" You hear this wrought iron death gate swing open.
Theo just kind of reflexively reaches out and grabs Cloak's shoulder.
Oh.
Like she's obviously looking at something amazingly dramatic, but
right.
she's just looking at space for you.
Right. And you both can watch as Elliott like starts to slide across.
I will drop the spell that's binding him.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So in Legba's eyes, Elliott disappears.
Well, Greg did put
Materialize?
Speak with the Dead on.
Did we?
Yeah, casted.
Because I believe you just summoned him over, and that was it. Because
I summoned.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It wasn't Speak with the Dead. It was just Go Shield.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Great.
So yeah, suddenly Elliott is
But
gone.
I still,
for you.
I still have Made Sight on, so I can see Thinking Beings. So
Sure,
if he's
yeah.
still a Thinking Being,
Yeah, you can see that entity there, and it's far more dramatic on Theo's side, where you watch
of
it
course.
sliding across the dirt, and he's kind of confused for a second, and then starts to like grab at the dirt and goes, "What's happening? Where am I going? What have you done?" And gets dragged. And like he's not like in a like screaming panic. He's just very confused at why his body is just being dragged towards the death gate.
Theo would just call it, "You're moving on, Elliott." She has no idea.
Right. This is dramatic irony. And like he's like he kind of rolls over onto his back and is watching, like a kid on a water slide, just try to control himself a little bit. And Jed kind of looks and kind of steps back and lets him go by and waves a hand. And like Jed's face looks a little bit concerned. Like he's pretty sure like only bad stuff comes out of there. So going in, hang on, what's on the other side? Jed has no idea. Jed hasn't been to the other side.
Mhm.
And after a few minutes, that big creaking sound and the death gate closes.
So Theo sort of breathlessly says he crossed over.
He crossed over.
He went through the gate. I've never seen that before.
He crossed a threshold. We opened a way
The way was there, but
through
it
elocution.
opened. Yes, you
and
talked him into
gave
it.
him understanding.
I didn't think we would be able to. I thought they were so limited and trapped.
There is always a way when you have words.
Thank you.
I'm gonna turn this campaign into an action movie someday.
We can go straight brawl if you want. Close always built with that
Did
too.
Theo see
I
anything
have done zero rootin', zero tootin'.
Did Theo see anything on the other side of the gate when it opened?
For me, it's like that very classic, like black swirling void. It's
Sure.
like, oh, what's on the other side? I don't know, because I would have to cross it. And will I be able to get back? And yeah, just bye, Elliott. Have a great time. I don't know. Elliott might fit in out down there.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
Looking at the aftermath, however, there's quite a mess.
Yeah, gravestone's out of place. The grave dirt is kind of drug up.
And it's going to be known around town, probably in fairly short order, that Theo's asking questions about this particular grave. So I think you
might want to get your story straight.
To do some repairing first.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm fine with you guys just taking an hour, because basically, we called it a gravestone. It's more of a big plank of wood, and just kind of shoving it back into the hole it was pulled out, and just put the dirt back. It's going to sound, it's going to look like if somebody came to inspect it, like somebody was messing with the headstone, but like there wasn't a ton of dirt dug up from the grave itself.
Mhm.
You can either try and clean it up, or get down on all fours and kind of dig at it like a coyote, and disrupt it that way. But
Well, I was kind of thinking using it's a practice.
thought about using magic.
Yeah, actually.
Practice
To make it
ruling.
look undisturbed, like make the dirt look
Mhm.
old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you could use practice veiling, or you could
Mhm.
use practice ruling if you want to influence its shape.
I don't have ruling in matter,
Don't you?
and I
Oh,
don't
I thought
think
you had matter too.
Yeah, matter too.
I have matter 2.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Yeah,
it.
like
yeah, so
ruling
do
is-
it. Yeah, so ruling. Yeah.
It's shaping, right?
You could put it back exactly the way you found it.
So yeah, I'm gonna, to the best of Theo's ability, put it back to the way it was.
Sure.
So repair the gravestone and move the dirt around. I can't make the grass regrow if there's any damage to that, but
Nah.
You could even like
Hmm?
conjunctively add in death there, and like you're literally reforming the grave. You're not just putting things back into place. You're like,
Oh, that's cool.
would
I
you
think that-
buy
yeah.
that?
Yeah. I mean, and
you're
that's
just rolling death and matter at the same
right.
time.
Mechanically, you're not getting something extra out of this. It's just cooler.
Yeah, still one effect.
Mhm.
It's just now partaking of a different arcana.
Yeah, feel free to roll. Actually, you know, just
Oh, sorry, an additional arcana
Right.
is what I meant.
just roll Gnosis plus Death. This is definitely one of those quick and dirty spell casting.
Do it.
I'm trying to fix this grave.
Hey,
Sure.
woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, takes you a couple minutes to try and finesse it back into place, but you both kind of step back from it and go, yeah, that looks right.
I had given up hope. And you literally talked him into crossing over.
Well, as I learned in my trip to Guinea, I am now the guardian of the crossroads. So shouldn't I at least attempt to aid all those at the crossroads in getting where they need to be?
And indeed, you got a lot farther than I did, despite my intentions.
Well, perhaps next time it'll be an equal effort.
It was definitely a learning experience.
I've learned a lot because you invited me here and you trusted me to protect you and to aid you.
I have a lot to think about. A lot of revelations to unpack.
I hope that you won't keep them all to yourself.
No, not at all.
Unlike
We should
some
probably
people.
we should probably have a sit down at some point in some quiet out of the way corner and just spend a few minutes sharing notes, pointed looks at Chris and Ash.
I have a well-swept mind that might be a good place for that.
Don't put pointed looks at us. Y'all the two that keep going off doing shit by yourselves. Just kidding. I know it's been
the
it's
whole
been fair
hallow and
pretty well.
everything. I'm like dead, zero, and mana, and yeah.
Pot kettle.
Yeah.
I think Isabel has a moment with Gisela as we're like walking back to town too, where she's like, you know, I kind of like the idea of a coven.
Sounds
Yeah.
proper witchy.
Is that what we're calling
True.
ourselves now? Which is, I love it.
It's a coven.
Yeah.
The covered.
It's all kinds of witches.
Which I mean, if I remember
Hey.
correctly, depending on which group you're talking about, there was often witches and a devil who was a gentleman.
The warlocks.
How about that? Indeed.
Just saying.
Fantastic. I think this is going to work just fine. I mean, Cloak is already going to change his attire and start wearing the clothing of a gentleman sorcerer. Drew, do you think I satisfied my virtue or
Yeah.
invoked my virtue in the course of this? Great. Thank you.
Cool. Did you guys have anything further there at the graveyard, or basically it's like, okay, cool, and now,
Oh,
No.
one thing. Actually, no, I'll do it in the group.
Cool.
No, I'll do it in the group. It's fine.
Just before we leave, I wanted to visually check in with I had his name, the sentient ghost.
Oh, Noel.
No.
No.
Mhm.
And just like, is he curious, horrified?
I mean, basically both Jed and Noel have been kind of
Mhm.
watching from a distance and just kind of watching this go on. And let's be honest, Elliott is not exactly the best neighbor. And, Jed, who's continued his kind of patrol around the Death Gate, because that's what he's supposed to do, and his best imitation of a soldier. Noel, however, has been literally sitting with his, he looks like Elliott treated his grave as like a prison. Noel has got his back up against the gravestone, is kind of lounged. He's not super comfortable, but he's like, nope, this is my spot, and has been just watching it's far more curiosity when the events were going on, but having watched Elliott just slide by into the death gate, now he's like, there's a different change in his expression. He's like, do I need to actually be worried about Theodosia? Or, because I'm not 100% sure what just happened there. Don't know what's on the other side of that gate. It feels there's an inevitable draw, but as long as he's got his anchor here holding him down, he's feeling pretty fine. But now he's like, okay, I don't know if I want to go through there. And okay. I'm not gonna let her make me.
Yeah. All right, yeah, just wanted to take his temperature that way, and then that's how I was gonna head back to camp.
Cool. Yeah. So you guys kind of end the night in your various places, return back home everywhere, and I will jump over here to Conca and jump us forward to the 17th. That's Saturday.
Cool.
Yeah, I think maybe we take our break real quick.
Take a break early?
Just
sounds good to me.
Just a good stopping point.
Good stopping point, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Cool, so
let's do that.
YouTube guys, we'll be right back. Twitch guys will also be right back, but like a little bit longer. But yeah, go get some drink, stand up, stretch, move, get coffee. Back in a sec.
Oh, yeah.
So we pick up then on the 17th of May, 1846, the town of Purgatory Bluff, Colorado. What's everybody up to this morning? It is a Saturday, but that means everybody's still working because we don't have 2-day weekends.
Well, Cloak, I'll just say this briefly. Cloak woke up early, feeling an absence of this kind of background anxiety he's felt since he got here about what he's supposed to do, who is he supposed to help, where is he supposed to go, and how is he going to be Legba. And the thing that occurred to him most was that he found opportunities and he was able to achieve something by relying on his connection to a friend and the things he's learned to do in the past and where they can take him in the future without having to cast a single spell. And so he focuses on that for the morning.
Yeah. Like that's good introspection. Oh, actually, it does remind me. We hadn't talked about it before, but Gisela and Legba, when you guys increase your gnosis, did you guys have any interest in changing your virtue or vice? Go ahead and make those changes now and let me know what they are. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't think mine would have changed.
Sure.
His virtue is still protective. Because that is allowing him to become, to self-actualize, to achieve this path, right? And the vice, I gotta... So in terms of, we talked about the way I'm describing virtue and vice for Cloak as the flip side of a particular motive, right, or orientation to the world. So dominance was the past, right? I guess controlling would be, I think, the vice he's going to struggle with now. Whereas if you're overprotective, you control people, right? So does that seem like a good switch?
Yeah, I mean, and specifically, like, to give a word to the vice, yeah, I guess controlling does work. Yeah, just
I'm okay with a synonym too.
Yeah. So, well, I was trying to think of a good kind of broad term, but yeah, I think just that micromanagey, do what I Yeah.
Okay.
Right, cool.
And
otherwise, yeah.
How about maybe imperious?
That's a very good $5 word.
Yeah, it works though. It's good.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
And yeah, for Gisela, she hasn't changed much in who she is as a person. Like she's increased
a lot of knowledge,
magical knowledge, but it hasn't started affecting her as herself,
Her
really.
behavior and stuff, yeah. Cool. Saturday brings us around to actually point of order. Craig, how's those lethal wounds on Theo?
I was down to 2.
Gotcha. I don't know if you plan to take a couple hours this morning.
Yeah, I was going
Working
to
on
take a kick at it.
And remembering now we need 5 successes. I think you're on 4 successes from previously.
That was intelligence medicine.
Correct.
And Catherine assist, right?
Mm-hmm, with a +2. Thank you.
Hey, look at that.
Sure, 5
Very
by
good.
itself, which as an exceptional, I will say reduces the successes needed for the next roll. So that will be 1 carrying over from previously, makes it 5, and then the next wound would only be 4. Oh wait, look, there's 4 successes right there. So reduce all your current lethal into bashing, which basically by the time we're starting everything up, you've had the hour or 2 necessary
Sure.
for all the bashing to resolve. And Theo finally feels like herself again and moving without that limp and etc.
Took a little while. For her part, Theo this morning, because she was out last night again, will be full domestic duties, have breakfast ready and coffee made and stuff before anyone else gets up and that kind of thing, and do a lot of work around the camp in the morning.
Catherine gives you a very quick, furtive, kiss on the cheek, and then basically mentions that she is going out across the river and is going to go meet up with. I should have pulled this up earlier. Characters. Trying to find the name. Juan Carlos.
That is itching.
Anastasios. Oh yes, the Forbidden Mango podcast folks actually showing off her new tattoo. Pictures in Discord if I remember correctly. But yes, meeting up with Juan Carlos Bartolome, Jorge and Anastasio's brother, and basically trying to find a good plot of land. Because apparently, somehow, Juan Carlos heard about your plan to move out and put a place up. Don't know how he heard about that. Anastasio, he's a loudmouth. And so, yeah, that's Catherine's plan for the morning, and kind of leaves you with, Velosia and, a bunch of wash to be done and chores to do.
No sweat, and get right into it.
Mhm.
She's Catherine's been very understanding lately, so definitely putting in the extra effort.
Yep. Anybody else doing anything of significance?
Standard day stuff. Considering I skipped off work yesterday, probably need to make up for it a bit.
Yep. Cool.
During the day, I'm just going to be working.
Cool.
Oh yeah, Cloak is gonna look for Isabel and Gisela.
Sure. They're probably two of the easiest people to find in town.
Excellent. So, whichever you think makes narrative sense, who he can approach first.
Earlier in the day, probably Gisela.
Stores
Alright.
open earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool. Then Cloak will walk to Gisela's shop and enter and approach the counter. She's there. And then bow to her and say, "Good morning, Mademoiselle Bauer."
Good morning, Mr. Broussard.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm keeping busy. How have you been?
Exceptional.
I will note there's probably a few other townsfolk who are just kind of like watching this exchange with some with amusement, and others with like, there's that weird guy from the mine.
It's incredibly stilted exchange.
Concerned.
It's going to be that way for a little while. He says, I've learned a great deal about many things in the past few days. And I am aware of how much you enjoy learning. So I thought you might want to discuss some of those things when it is convenient for you.
That sounds very nice. Trying to think of what would be an appropriate time.
This evening at the tavern.
Yeah, this evening. I believe I might have some things you might find interesting as well.
Wonderful. At the tavern?
It's the only
Sounds
place
good.
to meet anybody.
Yeah.
I will
It's
see
either
you there.
Yeah,
It's the only semi-respectable place for two unmarried folks to hang
either
out.
there
To
or
me.
the green. Like,
Yeah.
because the green doesn't have like a dread gazebo or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it does have, a
Not
fairly
yet.
large space, and I think that's probably one of the few places that has like a larger tree. It's not huge, but it was like planted when the town was, founded and stuff like that. And it's kind of working its way up. So it's got a little bit of shade, but
It's still like a scraggly pine tree, though.
no, I think it is probably some kind of deciduous thing. But it definitely is. It's trying real hard, and it might be doomed. But there's a lot of hope in that tree.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the poor little trees in Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
where there are trees, but they're all small and like this.
Mm-hmm.
They lean
Yep.
because the wind is blowing all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So they're hanging in there, but they're all like 10 feet tall and leaning over.
They're
Yeah.
trying real hard.
Probably pretty close to that. Cool. Yeah, but I like that.
As we set up the world's most awkward dinner date.
Yeah, and I think there's like because imagine Jean-Paul doesn't hang around too much longer, other than just that little conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's
That's
definite as Jean-Paul leaves, there's some people like as Gisela helps get out their goods or whatever, is just looking, and somebody says, "Is that young man trying to court you?" it's like, hey, what is going on there?
I don't believe so. He has interesting life experiences. He's an interesting person to talk to.
Yeah, which everybody kind of nods and goes, yeah. Because let's be honest, any of them apparently are from Haiti.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of folks who are still like pretty sure that's a lie. There's definitely
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because that's impossible.
Right. There's definitely some folks who are like
I'm
they're
so
totally escaped slaves, but Warner and Wright says they came from Haiti, and because he totally believes like it's one of those most everybody doesn't believe, but like what are you gonna do? Like they're working, they're not causing a fuss, and I mean there was some stuff that happened when they first arrived, but since then it's like, and like there's probably some folks who are just waiting for some bunch of slave hunters, I guess.
Slave catchers.
Yeah. And to
There's
show up.
There's definitely some folks that are like, they speak French down in Cajun land.
Yep. Yep. They know they're, it's, somebody coming up from Louisiana is going to be looking for but nobody's shown up. And
I mean,
months and months go by.
Plausible explanation considering the time
Mhm.
that kind of thing happened. So,
But yeah, it's definitely one of those things, but no, I don't think anybody dares say it to anybody's face just because, like, if you're wrong, weird as that might be. You're right.
it's a bad situation for you.
Besides, he's a hero.
That's right.
Yeah, and that is some of the, because this is probably that mine scenario was probably one of the first like where a lot of people saw them do stuff publicly, because otherwise they mostly kept to themselves. So yeah, that and the bridge
Riding
where
a
they
dark
came down
mine.
to, yep. So cool. Yeah, kind of
All right.
set that scene up, and to meet up later. You head over to the tavern like immediately after. Yeah.
Of course. He's going to be polite, and he's trying to, engage Gisela and Isabel in a different way now. So he'll stroll up into the tavern
Yep. Which
Isabel's
look
like
around.
polishing furniture and glassware and stuff, and like getting. You're a
And
little
bear in
early
mind,
there.
there are people here because the
Yeah.
mine lets out, and
Yeah,
there's definitely
that's
some guys who kind of come down and
Yeah, that's fair.
but it is definitely far more sedate, and they're probably like kept to one side. That way, you guys can clean the majority of stuff, and like you can always tell the new guy. It's like it's not a spoken rule to sit over there, but there's always that new guy who's like, oh yeah, and pulls up a chair, and everyone just kind of stares at him, and he gets up, pushes a chair back in, and walks over to the other spot. It's like, what are you doing? I don't know. I just pulled up a chair. Yeah. Hey, criminal. Cat criminal.
Small cat doing crimes.
Is definitely not Barley. Barley is innocent of all charges.
Barley is a good angel boy who would never.
Oh, brief aside. I think the best choice for Cloak's new vice is commanding.
Okay,
So we're gonna go with that for now.
sure. I like it.
We got a kitty cat.
You provided him a string.
I did it.
There we go.
All right. So yes, we have Isabel looking as Jean-Paul arrives.
Mm-hmm. So he walks in and he politely approaches Isabel and he bows to her and says, Senora Pilar, good morning.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great. What's up?
Well, I've been doing some thinking. The last time I talked to you here, you opened my eyes. And my eyes have been opened in different ways in the past few days. And as a result, I've learned many things. I think there's some things that I'd like to discuss with someone who has a different perspective and different experiences than my own.
All right. Well, I'll be here all day.
All right. And if you might have some time in the evening, that would be convenient.
If Madame Robert
I'll be
doesn't
here
catch me
all day.
slacking. Yeah.
All right.
I don't suppose any other friends will be here.
Oh, they will.
All right.
Until then.
Have
And he
a good
smiles.
day.
Likewise. And he leaves, and he's going to walk to the camp. And this is the first time he's going to visit Theo's camp during the daytime.
It's true. Short little trek out that way.
Cool.
So Theo's they're in an apron and is in the middle of washing clothes. Veloja's nearby giving her a hand.
Cool.
And
Is Catherine
looks up
nearby
as you walk
as well?
in. Nope, no sign of Catherine.
Okay, cool.
Crossover.
Monsieur Broussard. Good
Good
morning.
morning, Madame Stokes.
To what do I owe the pleasure of your visit?
My gratitude for your friendship.
I'll take it.
I hope you're feeling better.
Yes, much improved. Thanks to the tender administrations of Catherine and her diligence on my behalf, I'm doing much better.
Wonderful.
Would you like some
Then-
coffee? Perhaps some biscuits?
Yes, thank you.
Like you watch Valosia like jump into hospitality mode and runs to get and pour the coffee. Offering little cup and little plate with a little biscuit.
Mm-hmm. And some mildly strange looking chairs by the fire.
Ah.
There's just something about them that's a little weird, like they grew that way or something.
Ah, cool. Yeah. All right. Cloak is going to turn towards Velosia and look at Theo, asking for implicit nonverbal permission to greet her.
Oh, sure.
And he then says, I believe your name is Velosia. You
Big emphatic nod.
Yep. Theo's for sure introduced before.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't remember an encounter, so okay, cool. Maybe it happened off screen or something. All right. Then instead he'd say, good morning to you too, Velosia, and thank you very much for the tea and biscuits.
Big emphatic nod. Waits a second, and then like books it back over to the wash.
And he says, in the span of just a few days, you have allowed me to travel further down the path than I have in many years.
It's been an eventful couple of days for me as well. May I confide something in you?
Anything.
I've always been able to hear spirits, not consistently or constantly, but through rituals and things that my mother taught me. It wasn't predictable, and I couldn't always interact, but I could sometimes hear them. And when my eyes were opened, I thought maybe that was what I was supposed to do, was to bring peace to those who could find no rest. But when I tried it myself, it was a disaster. It nearly cost me my life. You helped me to do that. I was starting to feel like maybe this wasn't all a big mistake or something, that I wasn't really supposed to be using these gifts, or it was an accident or something, because I couldn't figure out how to do this thing that I thought I was supposed to be doing. Like, there must be a reason why I have these gifts. And you helped me accomplish that, so thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Velosia kind of looking back and forth, trying to figure out what the adults are talking about.
Normal kid behavior.
Yep.
Cloak then says, I understand myself better now. I understand who I am. Going to where I did. With your help in getting there. And reflecting on what I was once told about what my ultimate purpose would be. Seeing myself, seeing a version of myself in a context I never dreamed I'd actually be able to visit. It's all solidified. And the most important thing is, in order to do that, all I had to do was trust in connection. And he says it with like the vigor of the speech. And then he says, I didn't have to work my will. And again, those are capital W's. I just had to trust in my own abilities.
It does seem that we're able to accomplish more together than we are apart.
Yes.
I wonder if the others have had similar revelations.
Well, I think we can discuss it with them tonight at the tavern.
Oh, we're meeting, are we?
If you're so inclined. I've already spoken to Gisela. Or no, I've already spoken to Mademoiselle Bauer and Senora Pilar.
I'll be there.
Wonderful. Do you need help with the washing before I leave?
Oh no, thank you. It's I get a lot of joy in service to my family. Selfish of me, I suppose, but I like to bear that burden myself.
Like
Doesn't
Valuja
seem
kind of,
selfish.
kind of
Seems
stands
selfless.
up. She's like, hey, I'm helping.
Besides, it's excellent mother-daughter time.
Makes sense. I know how much you value your connection to her and how much you appreciate her continued well-being and love for you.
I suppose if that's it, then I will see you tonight.
Until then,
Would you like a biscuit for the road?
yes.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
And just sort of
Veloja's
smile
on
at
it.
Veloja, yeah.
Cool. Fast forward to tonight at the tavern.
It's okay with me.
Cool.
Sure.
Yeah. Not
And
rocket.
just for flavor, like when Veloja and Theo are together, like Theo just keeps up like a running dialogue.
Right.
As if there's a conversation happening all the time.
Hmm,
And, so just for flavor.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate
that's
that.
cool.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
yeah. Once you mentioned that she's just merely nonverbal, it's like, oh yeah, a lot of pantomime, a lot of hand motion.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of very expressive face at this point. I
And-
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, and like Theo's very particular about making sure that Veloja's treated like a normal child.
It's Theo and Silent Veloja.
I mean, I get it,
No,
but it's a stretch.
It's
Yeah.
too far reaching.
Yeah, it was a bit of a
Am I gonna
stretch.
take some
No,
some paradox for
we're-
that?
Chris nods. Cool. So we pick up at the tavern that evening. Like I said, it's not particularly raucous. It is a Saturday night though, and so it does have a little bit of a different vibe, just because they're the miners who are showing up who are like, I could sleep in tomorrow. Sort of depends on church. I could just be half cognizant in church. Yeah. But it never gets rowdy. Madame Robert is, death to rowdiness. This is a fine establishment. But, things get loud, have a good time kind of stuff. But Arcelia is there. Theo is there. Isabel. I swear, Isabel and Gisela, the names are just back
Same
and forth.
syllables.
I just can't wait for you guys to use shadow names more.
Isabel.
Yeah.
Isabel.
Isabel, yes. Isabel, come here. Either
ship
one
it.
of you.
You both have an E's and an L
Mhm.
in there. Isabel.
But yeah. And Arcelia is there basically working on being a little more proactive. And yeah, Theo, you arrive, and do you offer to help, or are you there as
For
a
sure.
patron more? Okay. Yeah.
Nope.
And like Madame Robert kind of gives you this look and says, we don't need your help tonight, Theo. And it's
Rude.
well, and it's not cold. It's just, but and kind of points over to the side, and let me make sure I have the right character here.
New lady.
Yeah. Arcelia. Edna is there. Edna Gilmore de Bartolome. Yes. Who is the lovely 5'5" Scottish lady who married let me double check. Juan Carlos, I think. No, Jorge, the tailor. And so she's here helping, similar to Arcelia, who's also helping. So yes, slowly the Bartolome family is getting their fingers in the tavern too. But yeah, Edna is there, and like actually probably at one point, kind of pulls aside after serving some drinks and comes over to Theo and says, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Did you need to work tonight?
No, I was merely offering.
Oh, okay, good. This is a lot of fun. She says 2 hours into her shift.
Getting out of the house. Imagine.
And for Edna, because she's a seamstress, this is talking with people and is not necessarily the normal point of order. It's like she gets an order in and then she's working. She doesn't have a lot of social, and so same kind of thing that Arcelia was dealing with. But yes, there is totally a meta plot of Anastasio and his family taking over the town, or attempting to. So yeah.
I just figure at some point, Gisela's going to be like, if you have a spare nephew, I suppose. Mom wants me to get married.
This man is slowly turning into the Lopin in my head.
Oh,
just got a million cousins.
Yes.
Yes.
Got a cousin for that.
Yep. They're all nephews and nieces, but yes. So Theo, you're able to basically sit with Gisela and eventually Jean-Paul, trying to use the appropriate name for the scenario, and it's at this point, especially with Madame Robert, knows that Isabel is friends with, if nobody else, Gisela, and Theo is her coworker. Okay, so some of that little slack lean against the table, and it's not like a modern restaurant where it's serve them food, serve them drink, and then get their butts out of the chairs, because it's you could put the entire town in here and it'd be a tight fit, but that would be everybody. It's not like you have people waiting at the door or anything like that.
Right.
So.
My son is just screaming outside of the door.
Sorry.
Layla has learned that when she throws a fit, she gets peanut butter inside a Kong. So she has taken to walking up to me and barking at me so that I'll put peanut butter in the Kong for her.
Wow.
Fair.
That dog is too smart for her own good.
Well, it's say you don't train your pets, the pets
train you. Absolutely. But yeah, so we pick up with basically the three of you sitting together with, Isabel able to kind of interject here and there.
Cool. Thank you both for coming.
Wonder why I brought you all here.
I want to share something with you. And then I'd like to just listen to anything else you'd like to share with me. You know me as Jean-Paul. That is a name I was given at birth. And it's a name that is attached to many things I did in my life. Some of which I'm proud of, many of which I'm not. All of which have allowed me to become the person I am now. The person I hope you will now understand and come to like. I earned a title in my initiation into Vardo. And I don't think I've shared that with you. Partially because it's something you use among Vaudoisans. It's not something you use casually. However, my recent experience, which Theo was able to witness from the outside, has helped me learn that I am now not the person I was before. And my name is not Jean-Paul. My name is Cloak. And because I trust you, I'd like you to call me that.
What shall we call you? Publicly.
Well, there will be a change in the leadership among les enfants. And so they wouldn't be surprised to hear you say that. Others might. I don't think I'd have a problem discouraging people from using that name if they don't know me well enough. So I will leave it up to you based on the circumstances. There is another name that you should only use in specific situations that I'll share with you once we've all come to an understanding of what's happened to us over the past few days. But for now, that's the truth I wanted to share with you. That when I earned that title, I thought it was to lead others and to be a profession. But I've recognized now that I've acquired the identity I was destined for. And perhaps my travels, signing my name, that was really attesting to the truth and the virtue of that name.
So this marks a transition for you.
Goddamn.
That it does. And another link in the chain.
Okay, then, Monsieur Cloak. I found something.
Ooh.
I had Isabel help me reach it. It's in a cave outside of town, a few hours. It is a
It's not that far,
wellspring.
is it?
About 2
It was
hours.
3 miles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about an hour's walk to it.
Did you say a wellspring?
Yes. As well as something else. Just look at Isabel.
A locus.
A
Got cut
locus?
A locus.
What is a locus?
It appears to be a gathering of spiritual essence. A watering hole.
Where the spirits water. Or where the spirits drink water.
Something like that.
Deer at a small pool.
Right.
Sometimes small pools and watering holes have alligators in them.
Strange metaphor, but not wrong.
I'm just wary of sources of energy.
Predators lurking in them. I
And
didn't
you, Sakura,
Notice anything when we were there? Reaching it was treacherous.
why?
It's an underwater cave.
How did you get there?
I
Yes,
asked
Isabel.
politely. And bargained for it. With the
course.
river. I
Is that
suggest
a-
we find a secondary way to get in there. Find or make.
I marked where it is. It's not a very deep cave.
Hmm.
So I would like to do this without being noticed, if at all possible.
It is possible.
I would like to make a trip out and try to dig down to it so that we could access it without having to not get out of drowning.
Theo just kind of glances at Cloak with a twinkle in her eye. Yeah, I think you can do that.
Oh, yeah.
You had a little practice doing similar things recently.
Yes, there are lines that magic flows along. There's one in the river, so I followed it. And this was a branch. So I followed that. And then found a well.
And you could draw from that well.
Yes. The water restored mana.
What?
Haha.
And you can
That-
drink it. And he's saying with like lowercase d.
I did?
Still got it, don't you?
In the
Yeah.
canteen.
I don't know. Is it still holding the I guess it's Tass, right?
It's Tass.
I guess I'll pass it over to you guys and see if you can drink it. It still has 3 in it.
So I'll definitely take a swig. Do I feel anything?
Gain 1 mana.
Slightly stagnant river water.
I don't know if with mana in it, I don't know there would be slightly stagnant river water, would it?
It's
Probably going to taste like river water.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I mean the
It tastes the most like river water.
yeah, the resonance of this hallow is, ichthoid and dark, and so it's
It's a little
gonna,
fishy.
Yeah, it's gonna
A
have
little
some
fishy and gross.
fishy cave water. Yeah, it's not a pleasant drink, but
So,
Isabel makes another lap by. It's like, you think you could make it a little less obvious that you're drinking moonshine in our tavern?
sort of wink at Isabel and pass the flask to look. My
but it is a
pattern.
canteen, mind you,
A
not
canteen.
like a
Sure.
It's not flask.
right.
I'm classy.
That's my pattern has been empty for a while now, so that's really good.
Have you not been doing what I showed you?
I had reasons to not do that for a little bit. I had an encounter one evening. It didn't go well.
One of the many things to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Jump Up will take the canteen and take a sip, like a taste. But I want to, if there's a way to avoid consuming enough tasks to restore a mana, he would, because he's full on mana.
Mhm.
So
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Just that
You
little
just taste the magic.
Yeah. classic D&D, sip a potion. Ah, this is what it does.
cool.
Sure.
Don't want to waste it. Theo's tapped.
But yes, I am also worried about the spirits because I'm honestly still not incredibly comfortable with spirits just
Being around.
existing.
Somewhere there's
But-
a Ganem going, the fuck did I do to you? But continue.
Just invisible entities hanging out there. But it seems useful. And I know where to find it. So we can work on getting to it.
Perhaps we can, in the course of making it accessible to us, we can adorn it or make some kind of permanent offerings to the spirits that are present there.
Not a bad idea.
Isabel likes this idea.
But is
If we change it too much, we may interfere, though.
I will, of course, trust your judgment and follow your lead in that regard.
So I've been doing a little exploring myself, and there's a couple of ghosts in the graveyard that are kind of lingering around. And we managed to free one from their chains to use Cloak's sensibilities. And there's a large gate that opened. I've seen these gates before and they're always closed, but this one opened and let him through. And I'm kind of curious on what's on the other side.
They were definitely not pearly gates.
Yeah, very gothic, yeah.
Which one did you help?
His name was Elliott Booth.
I wouldn't know that one because I went there with you, and I know there was like the one we could talk to,
Mm-hmm.
and then the angry one.
You definitely know the name Elliott Booth, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He wasn't a happy fellow and didn't die a happy way, but
No, he didn't.
he was his unfulfilled, I don't know, need for vengeance or refusal to accept what happened to him. He kept him trapped here, so we managed to free him from that chain, and he went through the gate, and I didn't even know the gates could open. So now someday I'd like to make a trip through and have a look on what's on the other side.
So we need to figure out what opened it,
Yeah.
or how to open it.
Yes. As a step one.
I assume the ghost at the gate can't help.
He doesn't seem to know anything about what's on the other side other than occasionally things come out.
Things are coming out.
He said occasionally, and it's his job to keep them in.
More invisible things to worry about.
I appreciate Gisela starting to do the math. I was like, wait, hang on. What's coming out then?
There's also, I mean, Cloak mentioned it, but there's explorations that we seem to be able to do within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
She says, like, with a question mark, because she doesn't really understand it herself. And using those explorations, we can get to other places. Or other people. That sounds a little scary, but also very interesting. We might want to try exploring that sometime.
That one for intersection?
Nah. Sounds a little, I don't know what the phrase she'd have for it would be, but something along the terms of navel gazing.
Well, if you're on a quest to surmount the obstacles in your life and demonstrate that you are the primal predator, maybe it might be worth trying to hunt down the fears that so plague you that you don't even recognize.
Not to add more to our list, but I was doing some study and I had a bit of a vision that was an angelic sort of figure, but at the same time it kind of reminded me of that shape in the mine, that figure in the mine.
Mm.
The being?
Yeah.
Capital B?
Yes. So it seems to me that there's differences between spirits and ghosts and whatever those things are. It just seems to be an interesting category to explore because they're somehow more real, but also less tied to here.
I want to get the one in the mine out. Make it go somewhere else. Having it here is bad.
Bad for whom?
It's... Because I know that it's entropy, right? Like, that's what I got. Yeah.
That is a big aspect of it, yeah.
It's entropy. It's dangerous to have in a mine I don't know that it made the ceiling collapse for no reason, but I believe it could have.
There.
I have some thoughts about that. When my mother taught me how to speak to spirits before my eyes were open, she talked about how names have power. And when I'm trying to talk to spirits before my eyes were open, if I knew the name of the spirit, it would facilitate that more effectively. And it wasn't until I knew Elliott Booth's name that we were able to actually communicate with him at all. If we could find the name of that creature, maybe we can connect to it somehow. I don't know if that's a thing we can just learn about something. Because names seem different for them, but I think maybe it would have the same sort of power.
I mean, it's not written down anywhere and we can't talk to it. So
there might be someone else we can talk to who does know.
I will go ahead and give Ash, like, from your occult stuff, like, you don't necessarily need the name so much as if you can get, like, throw in the big fancy titles, right? Mm-hmm. And stuff like that, and call it out by the position it holds, not necessarily its actual name.
Then maybe we could force it to appear or entice it to appear and be able to interact with us.
Naiti, we bring forth the Lua by their sobriquet as much as the name they've told us, or the name they're known as.
Oh, so if we had rock and debris from the mine as a sort of kind of recreate the environment that this thing seems to like, that might be reinforcing what we're trying to do?
Yes, and if you referred to it, or based on how I've approached Rodu, I would bring those things and I'd adorn an area with them, physical representations, and then I would appeal to it based on some descriptions I know of it. Like, if I were appealing to Legba, I would invite the Opener of Ways and the Guardian of the Crossroads.
Well, I would suggest that the mine is fairly important to the survival of the town, so maybe that might be a first priority on our long list of things we want to try and explore.
If anybody's wanting to run mage at home, give them a lot of crap to deal with. Yeah. Keeps them under control a little bit.
I think that in my travels, or no, actually, he says it differently. He says, I'll elaborate on this a little bit later, as I said, but I will mention now, I am working on trying to understand the speech better, because it is the ideal form of meaning and communication.
That might be a good idea, because Mr. Bethune's got a book full of it.
What?
What?
There we go!
Did you see it?
He showed us.
yes, it's instructions.
Isabel
We had a
held
good-
it for a minute.
A good talk last night.
Where did
Do you know what
get
it looks like?
Yes,
I don't
we've
know where he got it.
seen it.
It's a different book.
Can you tell me what it looks like?
Small notebook.
Why?
Because I'm going to read it. Just as I read his big book. Or rather, no, he says, just as Theo and I read the entirety of his main workbook.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know where he keeps it. It wasn't with the big book.
But
If
we
you
don't
tell
have
me...
to,
Sorry.
yeah, we don't have to know where he keeps it.
Or,
We
get
could
this.
just ask him.
We could just keep a connection with him open that we've just established and not steal from him.
He showed it to us willingly, and is willing to work with us.
You said Sunday, right, Gisela?
What?
You said Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever the day was.
Tomorrow.
Wait, so he knows about us?
He has ideas. Some of which we
Might have pushed
advanced,
along.
and others that we pulled away from.
He thinks we are a coven.
He
Ooh,
put his,
Ooh, I like that.
he put his supposition on you being one of us, Theo.
Hmm.
And said that, and I told him that 3 is a powerful number, but 4 is better.
But and he didn't freak out or anything.
They're amenable to witchcraft.
What?
I mean, they're doing alchemy.
Oh.
These men of science. But
I mean, and Jules
That's how
mentioned.
I convinced Jules to
Hmm?
take me up there last night, was showing him a rune
All right.
and, frankly, scaring the hell out of him with it.
Well then, I think you're right. Considering that I saved him from suffocating in a mine, and you formed this connection with him, perhaps just asking him will lead to him allowing me to see and read the book.
Whatever his book is, it is unconnected to whatever
The Astrovoidal.
creature he's hunting.
You think it is a creature?
I told him last night that it makes no sense as a object in the heavens, but something that runs away from observation, changes speed, and runs to a different habitat where it tries not to be found and shows itself only sparsely, sounds like something that is alive.
Or maybe like those creatures, like the creature in the mine.
A spirit? Yes, they're alive. Well, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
They're related.
I'm a little concerned. My experience with people seeing things and knowing things about what I can do hasn't been great. But if you think we can trust him,
I don't think we can trust him.
well, that's my worry is that,
I think we can use him.
Yes.
yeah,
The mages
As long
begin
as-
to plot.
as long as we don't have the town come out with torches and pitchforks, and
You cut out.
as long as we don't have the town come out with torches and pitchforks.
They're the ones buying ingredients to do witchcraft.
All we want to do is look at the stars with them.
I have their ledgers.
I'm just a simple serving girl, enamored with one of the scientists.
She's been here for 2 years and runs the general store. He's
Yeah,
the hero
you're-
who dug up, Okay, now we do need to probably cover for Theo, though.
Yeah, Theo is not one with a good reputation around town.
She's a witch burner.
She's definitely a witch.
She showed up and said she was a medium. Yeah.
She rolled up into town claiming to be a witch.
I still have clients. Anyway,
Anyways, I don't dislike the idea of being a coven with you 3. We each have our different views and particularities. But perhaps that lets us cover for each other in our areas of weakness.
I think it could.
And mostly because I don't think the 3 of you would let me refer to us as a herd.
No.
A pack, maybe.
I could go for pack rather than herd, but
I'd rather not be an animal.
You'd have to earn predator status.
Status is something you claim. It's not something you earn.
Also, since we're in the sharing mood of what we've been up to, and I'll show the lightning bolt wound on my chest. I had an interesting experience in the storm the other night.
See,
With the dragon?
Yes.
dragon.
It's a serpent, but yeah,
Serpent.
totally a dragon. Yeah.
Spirit of thunder and lightning and the storm. Alphoth.
Alpha.
She whispers that.
Okay.
No, I did this to myself by accident.
Ooh. It looked like it hurt.
Correct.
You strike
It was-
me as someone who wears scars with pride, but if you need that changed, I can fix that a little bit.
I will be fine.
That's what I thought.
It is an important lesson to learn.
Learning experiences all around this week.
Yeah, scars are not a source of shame.
And it seems that, like Cloak, I have also discovered a different way to be, a different person.
A different self.
You could call it that.
Do you call it yours?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
No, I'm stoked.
Petrichor.
Which to everybody else is like, yes, gibberish name.
We definitely know what that means.
no, I know what that means.
It is the smell of the impending storm. I am the calm before the storm.
Feeling a bit left out. With Gisela. One last thing I wanted to add is that Cloak and I have been working together for the past couple days. And in doing so, we have each learned more in these last 2 days than I think we have in the past year. It seems to me that pooling our perspectives would help each of us broaden our horizons at a much faster rate than poking at things alone. More to the covering off on each
More or
other's
less my thoughts.
strengths and weaknesses, yeah.
Perhaps in a less public setting, we can discuss what might be a rule set, an agreement.
Sure.
And look at Gisela. Oaths, perhaps.
Cloak looks
Oaths have
at this.
power.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The oats have power.
That they do. And then Cloak looks at Isabel and with a mirthful expression on his face says, "You know, oftentimes when you swear an oath to someone, it's not unlike linking yourself to them with a chain."
I feel a
If I-
transition coming.
Cloak's looking at Theo.
Isabel
and
walks away
this
with a
were
tray.
21st century, he'd be like,
Poor puppy dog needs to be out.
Just chat in our pod. Have we considered chains? I think good things are coming. Or, well, big things are coming.
Speaking of transitions, now might be a good time for me to describe where I went. And the new self.
Sure.
I mean, Chris would like to ask if we can move the scene.
Right, I
along.
was going to say,
Like,
yeah,
I
we
get-
can probably.
We don't need to recap the whole
Right.
last
Alright.
3 episodes kind of thing.
Notably,
Okay.
oh no, and notably just because we're at that last half hour, what I was going to jump to is, because obviously you guys are going to do a little bit of recap. One of the things that I wanted to, and actually I'll come back to that in a second. What I do want is to figure out from both Chris as Petrichor, do you have the shadow name merit? Okay, good. Couldn't remember. I was looking for your other merit, and for Ralph, for Legba, figuring out exactly, very specifically, what those personalities are and what spells. Not necessarily specific links, but what type of magic those people do. Because I want to go over those next session, just that way we can talk it out and have that at the start. But for tonight, as we're kind of rounding out towards the end, because I kind of want to put a pin right there anyways, is if tomorrow, or actually maybe even later that night, you guys get together and go, this is what the Cabal is. The Coven, excuse me. And so what I was going to say is, with the little time we have left, do we want to try and actually figure out some of that, or do we want to sit on that for a week and let you guys kind of hash that out in Discord?
Maybe spend some time bouncing ideas off each other. Might be good.
Okay, cool.
Sure.
Cool. So yeah, put that there, and then because that was the other thing, is I want, during that, I think, is when we can talk about who Legba and Petrichor are within the Coven, and specifically because I think, especially after Craig mentioned it, I was like, yes, even if you guys aren't taking the shadow name merit, but the personalities that you two may take on, Gisela and Isabel, even if like you haven't empowered it to the point of it being a usable yantra, that idea, because I've had this thought of the Coven as like, okay, who are the members of the Coven? Because Gisela is a nice girl who works in a general store, but who is she when doing magic?
Who's your wizard persona?
Right. Yeah.
Your wizard soda.
Yeah.
Your wizard OC.
Oh God. Oh, we're using our made up names. That I'm Spider-Man. Thanks, bud. But yeah, and so that way we have those for next week. But because I kind of want to start off our next session with basically us going through what the Coven is and who the members are and stuff like that. And that's something that in character, you guys probably starting here, and I think actually Ralph, is the transition of, let me tell you about Legba. And then we kind of jump cut to you guys sitting around Theo's fire or in the cave, as you guys like, okay, then we're in agreement, and we can kind of go over some of that stuff. That way we don't sit for an hour and a half talking about, I think this better. It's like, wait, hang on. Everybody at home doesn't want to watch us do that. And having a week to actually come up with everything would be a little bit better. Yep. But also, I have a massive headache, so we may end up cutting it a little bit short here. I'm trying to wrap up stuff. But oh my God, sorry, complete brain fart.
It's okay. I mean, that seemed like a great place.
Yeah.
I don't think there's additional things you need.
Okay, yeah, so we may pause it, stop it there. Sorry, folks at home, it's a little bit short, but hey, I mean, now you can go hug your dogs a little bit earlier. But yeah, so next week we will come back with a Cabal theme. And because I keep seeing you guys in Twitch chat, I'm going to bring this up for YouTube folks as well. If you have merch ideas, please let us know in Discord. Come on by, give us ideas. Because, what was it?
I'm just really able to find it because I want that.
Amenable to Witchcraft.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, so yeah, if you have a lot of good ideas, little one-liners like that, bring them on. Also, emojis, because Twitch needs more emojis. I think I have like 2 more slots. Right now we have an awesome mage skull. That
Gideon skull.
That
you
has
can give
turned
it
into
sunglasses.
a Gideon skull. And also, if you haven't read Gideon the Ninth, get on it.
Space wizards.
Space lesbians. Space necromancer lesbians. I feel like I did that wrong.
There's maybe a better way to say
Yeah.
that.
Necromancer lesbians from outer space.
Yeah, that's
Lesbian necromancers from outer space.
Yep. It's very good. But
Gideon's just a sword lesbian, though.
she's the best. Let me put it this way. It's the only book I've ever read where I shipped characters and screamed at the audiobook. All right. I literally, in the car, on the way to work, yelled, "And then you kiss! And then you kiss!"
Yes. Oh, Lord. It's on that note.
Yeah, on that note, come by Discord, yeet into .space, and join us there, hang out, talk about your characters that you ship over in Odds and Ends. Just anything that's weird, and just go there. Talk about birds. Come bug Ralph.
Oh, I see what you did there.
And we'll probably open up the learning channel and just like bring your bug questions, and Ralph can let loose, especially if Ralph might be stuck in a vehicle just trundling along for the next like week.
3 more days of driving. Then about 2 weeks on site, doing lots of fun things. Then there'll be another 4 days of driving. Indeed.
So yeah, 3 days.
Copious.
3 days to bug Ralph with questions.
You can bug me as long as you want, anytime you want. Any time of day, any time of night.
Right, Ralph is always known to bug.
Yeah, right. I'm realizing now that might be another shirt. Bug Ralph.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
sounds good to me. My nickname that my dad gave me is Junebug.
Aw.
That's
And that was
adorable.
before I became an entomologist. So that's mine.
That's Ralph's origin story.
That's right.
If you want to support us monetarily, that's patreon.com/occultist or staylucky.club. And you can hang out there. We joked about adding merch, but or getting merch, making merch, but you can get merch, including mugs and masks, which, by the way, hey guys, masks are still useful even into the future. Now that I'm thinking about it, an Into the West shirt should be coming soon, because we have a badass logo and I just need to use it. But yes. Oh yes, brain spiders, wonderful, wonderful little friends. And yeah, that's true. As Camo says, if you want, you can make Drew read funny names. Yes, if you support us on Patreon, that is definitely a perk that you can do. Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
Yep. Thank you, Chris. Thanks, folks. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.